Okay.
Are you recording?
So we got,
Yeah.
yeah, Sheena, I'm recording just an FYI. Okay, so we got some difference. Okay, multiplying two things together would be called.
Oh, no, it's the product.
Products. The
That's
product
way
of two
harder.
things is f times g is a little dot is equal to the f of x times the g of x. Product. Okay, and then when you divide two things, you're taking the
Call it.
the
Wait, what you asked?
dividing two things. No.
Potion.
Quotient. I feel like you should too. F divided by g of f of x is the same as f of x divided by g of x. Okay, so those are just notations. So now let's do examples of it.
Does X always go first?
Nope. Depends on what they ask you to do. They could say find g of x minus f of x or whatever. It doesn't have to go. So they're going to ask you to do something with the two given pieces of information. I'm 1 minute and 39 seconds into this.
So can they see us learning right now, or is it just that that's inside
It's just recording the screen and the sound.
and the sound?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So let's say I have these three different functions. I have an f of x, a g of x, and an h of x. Okay, so let's say they start by saying find f plus g of x. What are you going to do?
Just plug
So what is the f of x equation?
just do x squared plus 4x plus root x.
Okay, so that is the f. And if I add the g of x function, the g of x function is the square root of x plus 2. Okay, then all I have to do at that point is combine any like terms. Are there any like terms that I can combine? No, good. So I'm simplified. All right, let's try another one. Let's say it says find h of x minus f of x. Okay, where am I going to start with this one? What's my h of x? Good, thank you. 3x minus 5, and I'm going to subtract. What's my f of x? Good, thank you. Does anybody notice what I did when I wrote this down? What I put those quantities in parentheses. Okay, so the reason I did that is because, especially when there's subtraction going on, what do you have to do with that minus sign? You have to distribute it through. Okay, so this ends up becoming 3x minus 5 minus x squared minus 4x. Okay, so if I rewrite that, how many x squareds do I have? Okay, technically negative 1. How many x's do I have? Negative 1. And my constant? Negative 5, good. Okay, so that is as far as I go. Okay, remember that since you're simplifying functions, what should come out? If you're simplifying functions, what should come out? Another function. Okay, so if I'm combining two functions, I should get another function out. So all I did is I found a new function. How I got that? All I did is I started by distributing the negative through the second quantity. So see I have minus the parentheses of x squared plus 4. All I did is I distributed that negative into that quantity. So I get minus x squared minus 4x.
Yeah, I got that part.
Okay. The bottom answer, I just added like terms. So I only have a negative x squared because it's minus.
So then you put x squared and 4x, or I mean 3x and 4x.
Right. Okay. Okay. So we good with that? Okay, let's do a multiplication one. Let's do f of x times h of x. Okay, so what is my f of x piece? Oh. Okay, so my f of x here, I can go back up a little, is x squared plus 4x. Okay, what is my h of x? 3x minus 5. Okay, so if I have these two pieces, how am I going to simplify?
Just distribute one.
Okay, yeah, I got to FOIL this out. Okay, so what's x squared times 3x? 3x cubed. What's x squared times negative 5? Negative 5x squared. Good. What's 4x times 3x? 12x squared. And what's 4x times negative 5?
Negative 20x.
Okay. Are there any terms that I can combine?
Yes.
Okay, so how many x squareds do I end up with?
7. Positive 7.
Good. Positive 7. Okay, am I done?
Yeah.
Yes, good.
Where's Kate?
This is simple.
Right? Okay, last one for this. Well, actually, I'm going to do one more thing after this, but dividing. Okay, let's say I have h of x divided by f of x. Okay. So what's my h of x?
3x
3x minus 5
over
x squared plus 4x. Okay, now how do I... There's no x?
Yeah, there is.
Oh yeah, there is. Okay, how do I simplify this?
I don't know, but
Well, you have to multiply by the conjugate to get that.
No, I don't have to multiply by the conjugate. The only time I would need to multiply by the conjugate was if I have a square root in the denominator.
So,
you just multiply by your
You don't even have to do that.
could you,
So all you have to do, so when you're dividing, you want to be thinking, is there something that I can divide every single term by? Okay, and technically I have 4 terms, right? I have 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. Can I divide all 4 of those numbers by something other than 1, right? No, right? So I'm done, that's it. I cannot simplify that at all. Okay, so even though dividing looks the most intimidating, it's usually the easiest one because usually you can't simplify it any further.
But what if you did have one, so you had it, like 2 on the top without x, just string the 2 on the bottom?
The only way you could simplify this is if there was an x with the 5, like that was 5x, and then you could pull an x out of every term.
Okay.
Or maybe everything was divisible by 2 or something. Okay, so here's the very last thing that they're going to do is they're going to make this just slightly more interesting and say, what was my other thing I had? Sorry, I'm going to make this really small for a second. Let's say I have f or g plus h of 2. Okay, so different notation this time. What's different?
Well, you're gonna add G and H's functions together, and then you're gonna times it by 2, but when you just FOIL that,
Okay, now you're not multiplying by 2. That does not say take x and, or excuse me, take g and h and then multiply by 2. It says we have both of these functions that now are in terms of 2. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug 2 into all the x values.
oh,
Okay, so I'm going to start by writing the two functions together. So my g was the square root of x plus 2, and my h was 3x minus 5. Okay, so since now we're doing it in terms of 2 now, I'm going to replace all of those x values with 2. So I get 2 plus 2, and then plus 3 times 2 minus 5. Okay, so we can simplify this. What's 2 plus 2 inside that square root? And what's the square root of 4? 2, so I got 2. And then I have plus, what's 3 times 2? 6 minus 5. So can we all agree that this would be, let's see, 2 plus 3 is 8. 8 minus 5 is 3. So notice my answer looks a lot different this time. Okay, when I have no x, what comes out?
Clean answer.
A clean number answer, right? Some number. If I plug a number in, I should get a number out. If I plug an x in, an x should come out. Do I need to do another example of plugging in a number? That's pretty easy, right?
Do you have an orange marker?
Do I have an orange?
Bullet marker?
Yeah. Can you see my orange marker?
Yeah.
Why? Why? I feel like I shouldn't trust you.
You can trust me. I promise.
Can you tell me what you're gonna write?
I'm gonna change that then to it. Bother.
Oh,
Because you're
well,
only missing one
how about
factor.
instead change that 1 to 2 because I'm actually missing 2 again.
Sorry, where is it?
It's in that tin can. All right, here's your assignment. It is on page 61.
you know, like that cheat thing, right up the exact same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got it talking, pretty much I got the exact same thing again. I also like all the colleges.
Yeah, I hate tiring colleges, I'll tell you.
All right, so once you get to this page, what I want you guys to so it asks you for all of these problems to do the adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. So technically, it's like 4 questions in one. Okay, but don't worry about doing the domain of them.
Okay.
Okay, so don't do the domain, just do the adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing of each question.